hear that you're in the cleaning business. I hear you'd like to grow your cleaning business. In this episode of How Do I Clean, we talk about growing your cleaning business. Welcome to this week's episode of How Do I Clean. Over the next 3 weeks, we're going to start a series on starting a cleaning business. But as opposed to talking about how to use spick and span or how to use different products, we're going to talk about the actual business. So I'm talking directly to you who want to start a business. The first thing I'd like to do is tell you my story and how I got into the world of cleaning. I've got a secret for you. When I was in grade school and the teacher asked, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And Johnny said he wanted to be a pilot and Tom said he wanted to be a fireman. I did not say, "My dream is to clean toilets." The reason I'm in the cleaning business is because I had no other choice. Now looking back, there's nothing else I would want to do. I'm so happy to be here. But the way I got here was a tough one, and I'm going to go ahead and just share that story with you. So my name is Adam. I graduated from Clayton College and State University. I was a successful kid, believe it or not, as goofy as I am with my toilet bowl cleaner. I was a great student. I went on to a management program with Sherwin-Williams, went on to be a mortgage banker and manage a bank. As many of you know, I won't use this as my pointer. As many of you know, in about 2006, the banking world began to shift. It was a really tough time in banking, and I felt very insecure. I had a wife, Jessica, 2 kids, and I was pretty nervous. So I began looking for other jobs, and I'm a passionate believer in Jesus Christ. And so I was looking for a nonprofit that could use my passion for my belief and taper it with like a nonprofit. I could use my business acumen, and I found a nonprofit group, and they asked me to be one of the managers of their store. It was my dream. I was so excited. I'd escaped corporate America, which I know many of you really want to do. I'd escaped corporate America. I was going to work in a nonprofit. It was just going to be lovely, butterflies, roses, all those good things. And boy, was I wrong. Within 6 months of being hired by this dream job, I was fired. Hired then fired. It kind of rhymes. It was devastating. For someone who'd been successful pretty much his whole life, to be fired was awful. And of course, I believe the circumstances were not fair. But it doesn't matter. For anybody out there that's been fired, there's one thing that's true. When you're fired, a giant F is put on your forehead. And everywhere you go, people say, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" And you begin to dance. Right now I'm in between jobs. Eventually they figure out you're fired, and then you start trying to tell them how you're still a good person. For those of you who are in that position out there, please let me give you this advice. Don't worry as much with trying to convince people you're a good person. Use your actions to prove it. No matter what you do, no matter how much you badmouth your former boss, they're not going to believe you're a good worker until you prove it. Anyways, back to my story. I remember vividly the day leaving the office. I remember driving home. Getting out my savings account, counting down how long can I survive until it runs dry, because I've got to support my wife and kids. I remember Jessica coming home. I remember her on the couch right inside the house, sitting on the couch and watching Jessica cry. I felt like a failure. And then the next 6 months was the worst hell of my life. Being unemployed stinks. If I was a cussing man, I'd use plenty of cuss words right now. Being unemployed is horrible. boy, if you ever want to be told no, be unemployed and look for a job. So for about 6 months, that's what I did, and I had a couple close things where I almost got a job, just didn't work. I remember being on vacation, and my wife's family invited us to go to the beach, and we were sitting on the beach, and I remember everybody talking about their plans, how they hated to get back to work because they love vacation. And there I was sitting there thinking, oh my word, I'm gonna go home and I have nothing to go home to. Have you been there? Have anybody of you out there, have you been in that spot? So my good friend Travis owns a property management company, Lighthouse Property Management, for if I can give him a plug. And he said, Adam, why don't you clean? There's a huge need for cleaning companies. As my wife would tell you, me, cleaning business, come on, come on. But I'll tell you, after about 6 months of no paycheck, getting unemployment, feeling like a failure, why not? So Travis invited me to clean 2 of his house and do some touch-up paint, and I headed down there. To say I was unqualified to clean would be the understatement of the year. If you're wondering if you can have a cleaning business, I am evidence that you can, because it was horrible. But my knowledge at the time. But I went down there, to make this long story short, at 1 in the morning, I got back home from doing these jobs, and my wife was in bed, kids were in bed, and I was standing in the kitchen with this check for $500. A light went off in my head. What else am I gonna do? I'm gonna start a cleaning business. That journey began in July of 2013, and by the grace of God and a buttload of hard work, here we are 3 years later. We're projected to do revenues well over $100,000 this year, and the journey's just beginning. I think TurnClean's gonna grow incredibly. So I mean, truly, that awful moment of being fired was the best thing that ever happened in my life. So, to you, the people out there looking at this video, in the next few weeks, I'm going to show you how I grew the business. And the reason I'm going to do this is because one of the plans I have is to make TurnClean Services a destination site on the internet where all the cleaners can come and get information. I think it'll open up a lot of opportunities. I invite you next week to come back as we talk about how to grow sales in your business. The videos are going to shift from me to growing your business. Do you want to follow the journey with me? If you're on Facebook, hit like our page. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. We're going to grow your business together. Thanks so much.